Aloha, my name is Ligaya, and today we're going to be doing a series of basic yoga poses to help you develop a little bit of strength and flexibility. As always, whatever we do here on the mat, my goal is to make sure that you stay safe. So if there's ever any pose or any position that you feel uncomfortable doing, please feel free to back off. I'll also be trying to give you hints and modifications to help you find more ease in the pose as we move through the sequence. So we're going to start, like we start most yoga classes, on the floor with just some very basic breathing exercises. If you don't have yoga blankets, you can actually take just a bunch of beach towels and maybe stack them up, or you can take a seat cushion from your couch. Anything to help sort of bring your hips up and off the ground. For most of us sit in chairs all day long, and so our hips get tight. And it's very important when we sit on the ground that our knees are actually kind of at or below the level of the hips and that we're comfortable in this position. So let's begin just by taking the hands together at the heart center. The thumbs are going to sort of be attracted just to the sternum. The hands are going to push together. The elbows are going to draw out towards the side. We're going to close our eyes to begin. And we're just going to do a quick little body scan here. So starting at the feet, I feel the outside edges of the feet kind of rooted into the mat. I feel my hip bones kind of really pressing down and into whatever support I have there, blankets, beach towels, a cushion. I'm going to feel my side waist really elongate. And you can feel that best when you take an inhale, take a deep breath in, grow up tall out of your seat, and then exhale. Good, inhale again. Growing up out of your seat. We stay lifted as we exhale. Good. This time on the inhale, we're going to gradually open our eyes, separate the hands, and exhale, let that out. Good. Inhale, we're going to take the arms up and overhead, take the gaze up towards the thumbs, and then exhale, come right back down through heart center. Good. Inhale, reach those arms overhead, and come right back down through center line. Good. This time we're going to take the arms up and overhead. We're going to plant the left palm on the floor, reach the right arm up and overhead, reach those fingertips towards the opposite wall, and take the gaze under the arm and towards the ceiling. We're going to try to pin that right hip into the mat. So we get a nice side stretch here. Good. Inhale, press off the floor, and we do the opposite side. So right arm comes down and onto the mat, left arm overhead, looking again up and under that hand. Press that left hip down and into the mat. Big deep breath here. Good. Inhale, press off the mat one more time, each side. Left hand down into the mat. Take a breath. Nice big side stretch. Good. Inhale again, last time. Over and onto the right side. Left arm overhead. And inhale, and let's come back up to center. Good. Let's come up and off of our blankets now. So we're going to take our props. So we're just going to sort of move them off to the side, off the mat. We may use them at some other point. Look down now at the mat and really spread those fingers out. So my index finger is pointing towards the front of the mat. I'm on my hands and knees here, shoulder, elbow, wrist in alignment, knee right underneath the hip, okay? Tops of the feet are on the floor. If that's a lot for the tops of your feet, you can actually put the balls of your feet on the floor. So your choice here. Take an inhale. We're gonna send the chest through the upper arms, find an arch in the back. Good. Inhale, we're going to roll through the spine, one vertebra at a time, tucking back. Press those shoulder blades up and towards the ceiling. Good. Exhale, rolling through the spine. Good. Inhale. These are just a little series of cat-cows to help kind of open the spine up. And then we're going to meet again in this neutral position. Good. Let's take the right leg and stretch it back behind you. Put the ball of the foot on the floor. Very gently, just press back and take the shoulders behind the wrists and take a breath into the back of that right calf. Deep breath here. And come on back onto all fours. Take the left leg back, same thing. Really straighten that leg so my left leg is very active. My quads are active. The ball of the foot is on the floor. I'm going to press again into the ball of that foot and take a big breath into that left calf. Good, and you can ease back and press into it again. Do what kind of feels good for your body. Come on back to all fours. Good, this time we're going to take that right leg back. We're going to lift it up and off the mat. And if you feel comfortable here, you can take the left arm, reach that left arm long. So I'm elongating my side waist by using my arms and my legs. Good, exhale, come on back to all fours. Take the left leg back this time, lift it up and off the mat. That left leg super active. Good, again, my fingers are spread out on the mat to help balance. If I feel good here, I'm going to take my right arm, reach my right arm up and overhead in this really long spinal extension. Take another breath here. And then let's come on back and onto all fours. We're going to take the knees now. We're going to separate them out wide. I'm going to grab either a block or a blanket. I'm going to have that in front of me. I'm going to press my hips back and onto those heels and just kind of slide the block forward, kind of coming into a little modified child's pose. So if I can put my forehead on the mat. If that's not accessible to me, I can take my blanket or my brick and I can take my forehead to that prop instead. So taking a big breath here, reach those fingertips down and into the mat. And take a big breath into our back bodies. A lot of times we don't realize how much space we have to breathe back there. So take a big breath, feel those back ribs expand. Good, inhale, pressing back up and onto all fours. You can move your prop out of the way. Great. This time, we're just gonna tap the tops of the feet out on the mat. Okay, so just kind of bringing a little bit of blood flow, a little bit of energy through those toes. Good, we're gonna tuck those toes under now. Take the hands, we're gonna walk them one palm's breadth forward onto the mat. We're going to press the feet into the floor, lift the hips up, and kind of come into our first downward facing dog of the day. Okay, so for some of us, our heels may not reach the mat. That's totally fine. But we want to try to straighten the legs as much as possible, lifting up through the belly, hips up towards the ceiling. Take a moment here to come up onto the balls of the feet and really press those hips up into the ceiling. Keeping those hips high, exhale. See if we can descend those heels just a little bit further towards the mat. Good, and you can walk this dog out too. You can bend one knee and then the other, just kind of working the hips a little bit. Good, and let's come back to straight legs. Again, descending those heels down and towards the mat. Good, look up between the hands. We're gonna take now our hands and we're gonna walk them back towards our feet. At some point, those heels are gonna hit the ground and we're gonna have to bend our knees because a lot of us aren't that open in our hips. So bend the knees when you need to, and then we're gonna slowly roll up and come to our standing position. Okay, we're gonna grab our bricks now, and we're gonna take our bricks. If you don't have bricks, phone books work well, books work well for those of us that still have books. And we're gonna place our props like on their highest height, the highest height that you have, towards the front space of the mat. I'm gonna stand about 12 inches behind that. I'm gonna take an inhale, reach the arms overhead, nice and tall. Exhale, we're gonna open the arms, fold forward, lift through the belly, take those hands down and onto the bricks, continue folding forward and just kind of drop the head and relax into this little forward fold. Again, if the hamstrings are tight, take a little bend in the knees. That'll help you
to feel a little bit more steady here and not so fiery in the back of the legs. Let the head relax. And then slowly, as the hamstrings start to open, maybe we can start to straighten the legs a tiny bit more. Wherever you are, take one hand at a time onto those hips. Take an inhale and come all the way up to stand. Good, let's do that again. Inhale. So this is a half sun salutation. Exhale, coming down, hands to the bricks, fold forward, lift through the belly, bend the knees if you need to. Inhale, look out, lengthen through the crown of the head, straighten the arms and legs as much as you can. Exhale, fold forward again. Again, we're lifting through the belly. We're bending our knees if we need to. And then we're going to take an inhale and come all the way up to stand. Straighten the legs, straighten the arms as much as we can. And exhale, coming back down to center. Good. We're going to move to the floor now. Take an inhale. Arms come up and overhead. Exhale. Rolling down, hands come to the bricks. Take an inhale. Look out, lengthen. This time, we're going to take the right foot, bring it between the bricks, and take the left leg back and come into our runner's lunge. So my thigh is, again, engaged. I'm pressing the back of that kneecap up and towards the ceiling, lifting through the low belly. Good. Take a breath into that right outer hip. That's where you'll feel this. And then on the exhale, we're going to drop the knee down onto the floor. Put the top of the foot on the floor. One hand at a time. Let's see if we can graduate the hands onto the front knee. Taking a breath and stretching into the left front groin here. Inhale. If you feel steady here, you can take the arms up and overhead. Okay? And some of us may just stay right here. This might be plenty for most of us. But if you want to challenge your balance, again, taking a breath and lifting the arms up and overhead. Good. Exhale. Hands come down around the bricks again. Back toe tucks under. Straighten that back leg. Lift the hips. Take those bricks just a little bit wider, and we're just going to switch the feet out. So press off that back foot. It might take a couple of steps. Bring that left foot forward, and we're just going to switch and take that right leg back. Okay, so same thing. Legs are really active. I'm breathing into my left outer hip here. My head, shoulders, hips are all in one straight line. So alignment is super important in yoga. Good. Exhale. Take that knee to the ground. Again, top of the foot on the floor. Take a breath. Really spread those toes out, both the toes on the front foot and the toes on the back foot, so you have a little bit of anchor, you have a little bit of base here. Graduate the hands onto that front knee. Take an inhale, take a breath into the right groin. Again, if you feel pretty steady here, you can take an inhale, reach the arms overhead, lifting up, lift up through the rib cage. And then exhale, hands come back down, take a little break here. And maybe one more time, reach the arms overhead. And exhale. Hands come down to the bricks, back toe tucks under. We come back to our runner's lunge. Good, press off that back foot. And we're gonna switch the legs out. Right leg comes forward, left leg comes back. Okay, from here, take an inhale. Again, be really steady in those feet. Spread those front toes out. Straighten that back leg. One at a time, take the hands and graduate them onto that front leg. Good. If you feel good here, take an inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. And exhale, rotate them back down and onto the floor. And then let's switch those legs out again. Again, it might take you a couple steps to get into this position. That's totally fine. Whatever you need to do to modify and to get that left leg forward and now the right leg back. Good. Take a breath here. Very slowly take those hands onto that front leg. Lift the chest. So in this position, I'm really trying to pull everything into what we call our center line or our midline. I'm using those inner thighs. Inhale, take the arms up and overhead.
Spread the toes out, lift up through the rib cage, take the gaze just above the horizon, and then exhale, hands come down and onto the bricks. Good. From here, we're going to actually press off that back foot again. It might take a couple of steps. Take the bricks, bring them out and on off your mat. Inhale, extend the crown of the head out towards the front of the room. Exhale, fold forward. And then inhale, bend the knees if you need to, coming all the way up to stand and taking the arms down and to the side. Good. Let's take our bricks now and we're going to place them along the back edge of the mat at their highest height. Okay. We're going to take our feet out wide now, so much wider than our shoulders. If I actually were to extend my arms out to either side, I might imagine that my ankles are sort of right below the wrists, okay? So take the hands now, bring them onto the hips and look down at your toes. Lift the toes off at the mat, starting with the pinky toe. Drop one toe down at a time and really spread those toes out onto the mat. So this is your base, okay? We're gonna take the right toes now and we're going to rotate them so that they're pointing outwards along the long edge of our mat. Good. Inhale, we're going to reach the arms up and overhead. Take the gaze out over that right hand. And then exhale, bend that front knee. We're going to come into sort of this very familiar, very classic warrior two pose. Keep reaching that left arm back behind you. One of the things that happens in this pose is we tend to tip forward. So keep that arm reaching back behind you so that the shoulders are right over the hips. Take a breath here. Relax the face, relax the jaw. Good. Inhale. Press the floor away from you as you straighten the legs. And then bring the hands to the hips and we're just going to rotate the feet in the opposite direction. So now my left toes are turned out, my right toes are facing forward. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Look out over that left hand. Breath, and then as we exhale, bend that front knee. And we're actually trying to reach this sort of 90-degree angle with that front leg. Again, soften the face, soften the gaze. Whatever is going on in our hips sometimes translates to our face. So if we can open up the hips, soften the face, loosen the jaw, sort of adds to the ease that we find in the pose and just our overall relaxation. Good. One more breath here. Deepen that front knee if you can. Take an inhale. Again, press the floor away from you with the feet. Hands come to the hips. We're going to do that one more time each side. So we're going to turn the feet out. Take an inhale, reach up. Good. Exhale, bend that front leg. Good. This time we're going to drop that back arm. So take the left arm, just drop it back. Try not to put too much pressure on this back thigh. So it's just lightly touching the back thigh. Flip that right arm up and overhead. Reach over, coming into our reverse warrior on the right side. Good. Inhale. Come back to our warrior two. From here, we're going to take that right arm. We're going to bend at the elbow. It's going to come right across the thigh. And we're going to sweep that left arm up and overhead, coming into our extended side stretch. So I have this nice long line from my fingertips down to my toes. So you can imagine this very nice straight line. Keep breathing here. Good. Press the floor away from you. Come back to your warrior two. You always want to finish here. And then again, press the floor away. Hands come to the hips, and let's do the other side. So turning the left toes out, the right toes come in. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, bend that front knee. Again, softening the gaze, being really strong in these feet. These standing poses are great because they really help ground us. We find the strength in our base and our legs. Good. Drop that right arm. Flip the hand up and reach back again. Again, light touch on this back leg. We don't want to be kind of leaning into it or putting pressure on our knee or our hip. Good. One more breath here. Keep bending through the front knee. Come back to our warrior two. Good. Take the left arm now across the thigh. The palm is going to turn up towards the ceiling. Sweep that arm up and overhead. And again, turning that rib cage up and towards the ceiling. So it's as if these lower ribs are kind of rotating so that the chest kind of stays in alignment. Reach those fingers over. Good, one more breath here. Keep the legs where they are, just rotate the torso up, come back to your warrior two. Again, press the floor away from you. Bring the hands onto the hips. Let's just heel toe the feet together and kind of shake the legs out. That's kind of a lot of time in one position. Let's take the feet now, looking down at the floor. Again, about hip distance apart. Let's just take the hands together at the heart center for just a moment and take a breath. Deep breath in. As you exhale, the shoulder blades just kind of melt down the back body. So many times in our day, as we go through our schedule and our to-do list, we often don't have time just to sort of stop and to pause. So this is a moment where you can just stand still, do nothing, think of nothing. Good. One more breath here. And open the eyes, separate the hands. Good, let's take those legs out wide again. We're gonna do one more standing pose before we finish up and get back onto the ground. So same thing, legs are gonna start with the toes parallel, and then we're gonna turn those left toes out. Okay, so they're pointing towards the short end of our mat. Take an inhale again, we're gonna reach the arms out. This time the legs are gonna stay straight, so don't go for bending that front knee. Keep those legs straight. We're gonna pull up with our quads so that our kneecaps are nice and activated. Take an inhale. This time we're gonna feel as though someone's pulling our fingers towards that back wall. And then we're gonna bring that hand down and onto our brick. This other hand, the right hand, is just gonna stay onto the hips for now. Press that left hand into the brick and again, rotate those lower ribs towards the ceiling. If you feel steady here, you can take that right arm, reach the fingertips up and towards the ceiling, kind of coming into your triangle pose or Trikonasana. This is again another pretty classic standing pose. Be really careful with this left shoulder that you don't collapse into that arm. So press the floor away from you. Bring that shoulder blade down and onto the back body. Good. Look down at that front toe. Good. Inhale, really strong in the legs now as you bring yourself back up to your standing position, hands onto the hips, and then again, let's rotate the feet around. Good, so taking an inhale again, I'm gonna look out over that hand. Again, the legs are gonna stay straight. I'm gonna pull my right fingers out and over towards, so I'm coming up and over, and then my hand is gonna come down to the brick, and then that other hand is gonna come right onto the hip. Press those right fingers, that right palm into the brick. And depending on your body, you will feel this in different places. Some people feel it in the hamstring, some people feel it here in the outer hip. But again, we're rotating those ribs up and towards the ceiling and then reaching the fingertips up towards the sky. Keep breathing here, breathing into whatever space is on your body. Feel tight. So as we breathe, what we're doing is we're bringing oxygen, we're bringing nutrients, we're bringing energy to those places in our body that need a little bit of attention. Good. Looking down at that big toe. Again, take an inhale, legs stay straight, lift up and off. Good. Hands come to the hips, and we'll heel toe the feet together again and kind of shake everything out. Great. Let's take our bricks, and we can just move them off onto the mat. We're not going to need them again. We're going to finish up just with a very quick sort of cool down. So we can take our blankets again, or your stack of beach towels,
Again, create a really comfortable seat for yourself. Okay, and then this time when we sit down, most of the times when we cross our legs on the floor, there's a very natural, very easy way that our legs kind of come together. What we want to try to do this time is whatever that natural tendency is, we're going to do the opposite. So for me, it's to bring my left foot in. So I'm actually going to bring my right foot in this time first, and then the left foot's going to come kind of over it. And it feels a little different in the hips. You know, we like to think that we're symmetrical and very balanced, and on the outside I think most of us are, but certainly our internal organs have a sidedness to them, and so does our body. With use, you know, one hip is tighter than the other, one hamstring is tighter than the other, so it's good to sort of mix things up every once in a while. Good. So actually here we are in our seat. Let's press the hands into the tops of the thighs. Again, just close the eyes for a moment. Take a breath in, and this time I want you really to actually take the shoulders up around the ears, and then as you exhale, drop those shoulders down the back body, level the chin off. A lot of times as we walk through our day, we tend to walk around with our chin sort of tilted back. So level the chin, drop the shoulders, take another breath here. Good, again, just sort of slowing down after being on our feet. Okay, we're going to take the bottoms of the feet together now, and you can grab wherever it feels comfortable, whether it's shins or ankles, just some place that you can actually connect to your lower leg. So take an inhale. I'm actually going to grab a little closer to my ankles. Take an inhale. We're going to lift the chest, and then exhale. We're just going to hinge forward just as far as we can until we start to feel that stretch in the lower back. Okay, so we're breathing now into that low back area. Again, those of you that have tighter legs and groins might feel this more in the inner thigh. Good, if you feel as though you're ready to sort of pitch over, you can take the hands out in front. Again, keep breathing here. And the other thing we want to try to do is we want to try to press the big toes, the ball mounds of the big toes together. One more breath here, and then very slowly, we're going to graduate the hands back and onto the feet. Take an inhale, lift the chest. Let's drop the head back, and then exhale. Take the chin down onto the chest, and kind of roll your belly button into your spine so that the back rounds out. Good, and then inhale, sitting back up again. Great. Let's take the legs out into a wide V, like a seated V. We're going to flex the feet so that the toes actually kind of curl back towards the body. Great. Take an inhale. Arms are going to come out. We're going to reach and turn that right palm up and overhead. And again, just a really simple side stretch here to kind of cool down. My left palm is pressing into the floor. Good. Inhale, pressing up. One more side to side this way. So left palm up and overhead now. Again, we're going to push that opposite hip, that left hip, into the mat, because the tendency is for this to happen, right? So we're going to press that left hip into the mat. Good. Inhale, coming back up. Great. This time what we're going to do is we're going to take our right leg, and we're going to bring our right leg, bend it so that the sole of the foot is kind of pointing towards the inner thigh. Okay, we're going to keep this foot flexed, but we're going to turn our shoulders so that our torso is kind of right in line with our leg. Take an inhale. We're going to reach the right arm up and overhead. Exhale, and again, we're going to reach for that big toe, or you can reach for the outer calf here. So this is a really great stretch for this low lumbar area. Again, for those of us that spend a lot of time in chairs or driving around in cars or sitting at a desk, this is a really nice opening for the lower back. This hand can go anywhere, but you do want to reach for the opposite side of the leg so that you kind of maintain that twist. Okay, so I like to actually take this hand and bring it to the outside of the calf.
And I'm giving just a little bit of resistance there so that my torso stays turned towards this leg. And what that does is it really helps to increase this stretch in the lumbar area. So taking another breath here. Take an inhale and kind of just lift up slightly, straighten the spine. Exhale, keep that spine straight. See if you can find a little bit more depth in the pose. Good, inhale, coming back up, and we'll switch to the opposite side. So this time we're gonna extend the right leg, left leg bends in. Again, we're gonna turn our torso so that we're facing that leg. Keep that foot flexed, keep the toes pointing and curling back. This time, I'm gonna lift my left arm up and overhead, and I'm gonna reach forward. Again, I'm lifting through the belly as I reach forward, and the hand can come to the toe or can come to the outside of the calf or the outside of the knee. Again, just a little pressure to help kind of turn that torso towards the leg so that you're really kind of coming right over that leg. Keep that foot flexed, keep this leg active, and keep breathing. Good, again, inhale, let's straighten the spine, find some length, and then exhale. Deepening the pose for just a moment. And then coming back up. Good, bring those legs straight out in front of you and just kind of shake the legs out. Good, and let's come back. And we're going to finish this time in our seated cross-legged pose. Again, you can fold in whatever leg feels more comfortable because we will be here for just a little bit longer. You want to shift from side to side and just kind of feel those sit bones really rooted into your blanket, really rooted into your mat. We're going to take the hands, we're just going to relax them really lightly on the tops of the thighs. Again, taking an inhale, closing the eyes. Lifting up and out of our seat. So we have this feeling that the crown of our head is like lifting up and towards the ceiling. This kind of equal and opposite thing happening where we're grounded, but we're also very lifted. And we'll spend just the last minute or so just quietly breathing and reconnecting to our breath. Oftentimes when we start our yoga practice, we're very aware of our breath as we sit quietly, and then as we move through poses and start moving the body, we lose track of that breath. So at the close, it's always sort of a nice way to come home, is to come back to the breath. So again, taking that inhale, exhale. Next time you take a breath in, take a really deep inhale. Again, breathe into the back body, breathe into this space under the collarbones. And just pause for a moment at the top of your breath. Sort of enjoying that sensation of being full and vital with lots of oxygen. Take a pause and then exhale. Let everything out. Empty everything out. And then before you initiate that next breath, just take a little pause and then breathing in again. Let's do a couple cycles of this breath. It's super, super relaxing. So inhaling and then that slight moment of retention at the top of the breath. And then exhaling, letting everything go. A pause at the base of that exhale. Deep inhale one last time. Pausing at the top. And then exhale. Let everything go. Before we take that next breath, let's bring the hands back and into the heart center. Again, the palms press together, the elbows sort of draw out to opposite sides of the room. As we breathe, we feel the sternum kind of lift up towards those thumbs. And let's exhale, bow the head. Maybe spending a moment here just to appreciate the time that we've been able to spend on the mat. The dedication that we have to keeping our bodies and our minds healthy. You can lift the gaze, open the eyes. Thank you so much for being here today. Namaste.